Hey, it's Monkeypuzzle. Welcome to episode number 11 of Monkeywrenching the Beast. I forgot that I had an Ender Chest hat on my head. Yeah, it represents the infinite interdimensional possibilities of my brain. Anyway, let's change the perspective so I can do something here. Things have developed since we started this series 11 episodes ago, and some things are very much the same, but I got big plans today, stuff I need to do. You can see over there I've been working a little bit on automating tree farming, and I've had good results with that, but that's not for today. We're not going to get into that. You can see a little stand of black dye trees from before when I was working on making the dark glass for our Cursed Earth mob grinder, which, let's go down and take a look at that again real quick down here. So you all saw that if you watched. It took us quite a few episodes to finally get to the point where it's done and it works great. Cursed Earth comes out and mobs start dropping. Now, the thing I need to work on today is kind of a necessary thing that became of this. I have other ideas of other stuff I want to do, but this thing is generating so many items that I can no longer use it until I deal with storing the stuff that comes from it. So, you guys stay right there, okay? Yeah, so down here, or up here, depending on which direction you're coming from, in my first basement work area, and then down below, of course, was the extended basement area, whatever you want to call it. Perhaps you saw the episode where I created my sorting system, and I said when we outgrew this, we would have to make an AE system, an Applied Energistics ME network. I think it stands for Matter Energy or something like that. But anyways, the things that are like computers with disk drives, and you put all your stuff on a hard drive, which is kind of weird and not all that Minecrafty. I've stayed away from it up until now because I just like sending things through pipes and sorting them that way. But I spend a lot of my time playing here just opening chests and closing chests and moving stuff around in my inventory. And anyway, I'm willing to at least learn how to do this one time and see how it goes, and I'll probably end up liking it a lot, or at least depending on it. And anything that saves time to move on to other creative projects is definitely worthwhile. So if you notice, the floor is covered with these crafting stations because there's a lot of crafting to do to make this Applied Energistics network, the Emmy network. And I'll be honest, I almost just did this, and then I was going to do the episode where I show you after the fact. Look at the Emmy network I made, because a lot of people have made these for a while now. For some of you, there'll be nothing new. And if you're bored with these, please, you can go ahead and skip this episode and join in again in the next one. But, you know, I've made a tradition of showing everything at least once, and I've never done this. And I know there's people who haven't either. So, you know, and I'm not going to be an expert. That's the tough thing about showing something the first time you do it, is you haven't done it before and you're not an expert, so you're gonna make flubs one way or another, and that's just how it goes. And a lot of FTB is watching really good players make a lot of mistakes because they haven't done the things, and especially with these big gigantic packs that keep giving us all this new stuff. Anyway, the mob grinder, besides, oh wait, let me show you the first result before I get into stuff. The first result is that my enchanting station is now bright, shiny, glowy green, with all this little sparkly, wonderful liquid XP. So I can enchant to my heart's content. And I also been pulling enchantments off of the loot that we get. I'll show you a lot of good stuff. And yeah, so I can do auto enchanting to my heart's content. Right, I'm not even using it as auto, but it just fills up with XP juice, and I can enchant all I want. And same with auto anviling. So that's great. I had made all these open block tanks before, and I was working really hard to even show their contents. They had to have at least one bucket each before they turned all neon green like this. And I had to breed cows and kill mobs and go mining and do all kinds of things that and it was really hard. So from now on, I don't actually have to do anything special in order to have XP, which allows all kinds of things. Like I can just enchant my armor now with all the ideal things I want it to have, and repair things easily, and so on and so forth. So that was a big benefit of that. Yeah, and the other benefit was now my chest. Well, that's the end of the line. My chests are all full of drops, some of which are really awesome, like ender pearls and gunpowder, and some of which will just kind of junk the place up and fill everything up. I have more arrows than I'll ever use, especially since I have Infinity 1 on my bow, and we have that mod, what's it called? Infinity Bows, where you don't even need to have one arrow on your inventory to shoot arrows infinitely. But some of these have really good enchantments, which we can use to make other bows, and mainly, I guess, be giving them to other players now, because this one's great. If I need to put one of these back together again, I can pretty easily. We can turn armor, this golden armor, into gold, and so on. So there's a lot of good stuff coming from it. Some things I don't even know what to do with yet, like arcane essence. And you can just see that these are just filling up. Somehow somebody gave us some ink sacs. We got some miniature red hearts. Had a little bit of, I don't know, we got a glistering melon here. So enchanted flint and steel within breaking 3. So yeah, this thing's filling up quick now. I actually put this little extension on it just because of that. This is not my aesthetic right here. The feng shui is all messed up, so we're gonna have to fix this. So I went ahead down here, and on all these stations now, I've got most of what I'm going to need to craft the ME system. So let's get to it. In here, you can see is the advanced processor assembly, and then you have to smelt this in order to get the advanced processor. So there's 2 processors in ME systems. This is the higher tier one, and the one you actually use the most of is this one, the basic processor. So one's based on diamond, one's based on gold, and you have to use this quartz cutting knife to make it. It stays in here, it just takes damage, and to make the quartz cutting knife, it's just this recipe right here. So when the other one breaks, which it's about to, I can just grab another one here, a couple sticks, iron, and 2 Certus quartz. I think you can also use nether quartz in these 2 places as well, and it would work just fine. So the first thing you need to make an Emmy system, the most basic component, I think, is this, the Emmy Controller. And that had the addition of these Fluix crystals, which are just like that. And I don't know if I'm going to need any more of those right now, but there are other recipes that use those as well. So let's go ahead and grab this. And oh, actually, one thing I was going to do before I start filling my inventory with all this stuff is I was going to use this dolly from JABBA, Just Another Better Barrel Attempt, to move these out of the way and put them over here somewhere. I'm going to import the items from them into the Emmy system as soon as it's ready. To a certain extent, there is some things we're going to have to work out with as far as like items that stack, and then all this armor and weapons and things that don't stack. So that will be something we'll talk about in a bit. But in the meantime, I'm just going to move this stuff out of the way so that we can go ahead and start placing our stuff. So I'm just going to finish this up, and I will be right back. And as I'm doing this, I'm disassembling my whole organizing system that I created before. I had put these, what you call pneumatic servos on all of these so that I could filter items. I could either whitelist them or blacklist them and so on. And I'm going to have to put this all back together again for the next system, but this was kind of a catch-all chest. But this, you can see I have certain items going to each one of these. I used up most of my redstone in the crafting of this Emmy stuff. I got lots of marble and so on. Anyway, enough with that. They're coming out. Don't really have quite enough room here. Wonder if I can stack these like that. Oh, awesome. Okay, so now that we got my old stuff out of the way, oh, and can we, I don't think we can do the apiarist chest. If I break that, I'm in big trouble. So we'll leave that there for now. But okay, so let's go ahead and just stick this out of the way. And let's see, pack away my pneumatic servos and that stuff. And we can now go ahead and pull out my first Emmy controller. There it is. And I think this is where it's going to go. I might change my mind later. It makes sense for the rest of my place. This column that was my original tunnel down to my first mining, it's still kind of been the central column of my base, although now it kind of extends that way too. But we want this to be in range wirelessly later, but hopefully this will work out. But for now, for lack of knowing better, I guess I'll put it here, and it's going to need power. So I've gone ahead, and now that I'm stuck in here, I've gone ahead and, oh, I can't get out. Let's see, we could do that. Get that. And wired power from over here, from my whole thermal expansion power system. It goes either this stuff, the I should turn Wayla back on because so I can remember names more easily. The creosote oil and fuel and oil, which are primarily basing all the power on. Oh, and also we've got in here, we've got that's where charcoal and coal coke go to from here. I've got plenty of that. Anyway, so got power going to this already. So let me just go ahead and grab a couple more redstone energy conduits, and we will get power going to the whole system. So that's the other thing I'm getting myself into by doing an ME system, is now I'm going to have a constant supply of power to access my stuff for the most part. And that looked like it worked just great. I don't know if these actually use RF or not, but I know that these redstone energy conduits will change RF to MJ, and these are pretty versatile in what they can use. So there we go. We got the basic block, the beginning block of our ME network, the controller. Let me see, just trying to keep my inventory managed as I do this. So moving on, the next thing we're going to need is an ME drive. And like I said, basically this system stores in, okay, let me try that again. This system stores items on hard drives, basically, and we'll get to crafting those in a moment. And there's two different ways you can access those hard drives. One is this, which is basically a big server or RAID system of hard drives. I don't know if this represents how many it has. Yeah, okay, so that looks like it can hold 10. And that's, yeah, it represents 10. I bet these are going to light up as we put stuff in them. And it's going to get power directly from the controller, right, like that. So this is the most efficient way to use this system. You can also, there's this thing called an Emmy Chest, which I don't know where I got this, if someone gave it to me or if I found it. But an Emmy Chest is a way that you can just put one of those hard disks at a time. And they look like these little square things right here. And you can access it, and I think you can do it without power. So this is kind of a backup. So I'm going to put this here. We don't want this connecting to it yet till we know what we're doing and how this all sorts and everything. So, but I'll just put that there for now. And I do have to figure out how stuff goes into here. I'm probably going to want to open up a back area so I can get in here and pipe it up with cabling and stuff, or item ducts, or however else. We have a problem that the outside is not too far away, so I'm just going to block that up for now, and we'll pretty that up out there again later. Hopefully I don't get a Ars Magica meteor coming down here. If I was really smart, I'd probably put obsidian back here, but I can do that later. Anyway, on to making stuff. Back to that. So we've got that so far. It's powered. Probably the first thing I should do right now is make some drives so we actually can put some stuff in it. So the way the drives work is they have a cell that goes in the center of them that determines how much stuff they can store. This is your most basic cell. It uses the Certus quartz. So the quartz and the quartz dust, which are now in one of these, which I don't know where it is anymore. Let's see. Here we go. Is part of the World Gen, as most of you know. You can get that and that. You can also grind these to get that. This mod also uses quite a bit of nether quartz as well, which fortunately I have a lot of at this point because I was using that as an XP farm and also for putting sharpness on my Tinker's weapons before. But yeah, so I've went through quite a bit of this already as I've set all these stations up. And the other thing I've used the most of is redstone. So yeah, that's the most basic cell. This is the next level up, the storage segment. And you can see how this advances. We've gone from using the gold basic processor to the diamond advanced processor. And then this, again, if I put 3 of these in there, the storage blocks, I think I get what's called a storage cluster. And they call this the 1K, the 4K, the 16K, and the 64K processor, and or cell, and they go in here. This is kind of the frame that holds them. So they hold increasing amounts of stuff, but there's the limitation that each of them can still only hold 63 kinds of items. So even if I went ahead and made the most advanced one, which holds thousands and thousands of things, I don't remember the exact number, I will only be able to hold 63 kinds of things. So I don't know if I actually want to go straight to this one right now because I've got the deep storage units over here still, and I'll probably keep using those. And those are providing tons of storage for my biggest bulk items, the cobblestone, the dirt, and coming down the line, the gravel, and this was sand, but obviously sand is never as bulk as you'd like it to be. So I don't know if that is really necessary for a deep storage unit or not. But those are a good strategy for holding lots of stuff. These would be too, but you have to make sure that you define them for that. And in order to do that, you make this thing called a partition editor. And this will, you can put these in here and tell it to only hold certain kinds of items. So I'm probably going to rearrange all this stuff later. Maybe we'll just put this right here in front of the drive. They call it a drive even though to me it holds 10 drives, but whatever. We'll put that there so we can use that. And it's going to take quite a while to fine-tune this thing. In fact, I'm not even going to try to really do all that in front of you right now. I'm just getting the basics started. So we're going to need a bunch of these. I had figured out I need 27 of them, I think, to get all the way down to here. But actually, maybe let's start with a whole bunch of the 16K ones. We could probably use some of the, if I was really good at partitioning and organizing the whole thing, I could start with 1Ks and 4Ks as well. But let's see. I forget how many I'm going to need to get to there. I know I need 3 to get to here. 9 to get to there. So let's go ahead and make, we'd need 36 to get 4 of these. So let's go ahead and just make, a bunch. We need 18. Let me see if those take 3, 9. It's got to be multiple. So let's do 27 and see where that gets us. And I'll make some more. Just leave enough for a recipe in there. So let's move on up the line here. So these, got to break them into 3. Can I do that? Oh yeah. So let's go ahead and just clean this out. I'm not going to make any 1K cells, so I can turn this all into those. So we have 12 of those. So I could make 12 4K drives right now if I wanted to. I hope you guys are following this. If newbies aren't, I'm sorry. I'm trying to explain this as best as I can. It's a little complicated. Now I can take these and I can turn them into the next tier up. And I think that's probably the minimum one I'm going to use for now. Let's see. Go like that. Now if I did it just like this, I could make 5 of the third tier of storage. Let me save that. We'll have 8 drives if we do that. This will give us 4 of those. Yeah, let's try that, and you'll see what I'm trying to do in a second here. So I'm going to need 2 more of these advanced processors. Let me grab the ones I put in here since we're not going to do that at the moment. I'm going to clear all of these crafting stations up once I'm done with this because it doesn't look that great on the floor. But let's see if we can get those. Okay, so that's great. So we got 4 of the storage blocks, 3 of the storage segments, no storage cells, no storage clusters, I think they're called. Let's see. We can, you can see I was checking out the file cabinet here before. Let's find Applied Energistics, get just those things up there. And yeah, so that was the, it was the cluster, right? And we got the cell, the block, the cluster, and the segment. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take these now, and we'll put, these are the 4 biggies. These are the third tier, not quite the highest tier of storage, but I think this will more than serve our needs right now. We're going to make those. So we got 4 of those, and put these in, and we got 3 of those. So I think that's a pretty good start. An expert could tell me better, but let's go ahead, put these guys in there, and these guys in there. So now I've got storage, and I can hold quite a few thousands of items that way. I can configure them like this. This sets the priority of this drive over other drives if I had them. So things would either come here first or last. And like I said, all that kind of fine tuning I'm going to have to work on later. But yay, look at that. We've got 7 little happy slots there. That's great. And when I know what I'm doing, I'll partition each of these drives maybe so that I can figure stuff out. Let's go ahead actually, and just so I can see what that would look like. If I put this in there, I could format this. So I wonder, can I put this many items here and have them hold only those kind of items? I bet you can, which would be great because I could actually get these to resemble some of my other chests. And the strategy here would be putting things that, this one's a higher capacity storage. This is a lower capacity storage. So the strategy would be putting things on this one that I'm not going to have too many stacks of each. Things that I'll have a couple stacks of, or it could be more than that, of course, but things that aren't going to be huge amounts of items. And so I'm using the lower tier storage to distribute more kinds of things, and things that you have less than a stack of each, I probably could have just used the 1K storage just fine. But this will just make sure that, you know, I don't have overflows in my storage. So there's that. We got that far. So I've got an Emmy network at this point already. There it is. But in order to access this stuff, which I haven't put anything on it yet, at this point, I'd have to put stuff in here in order to look at what's on it. Let's go ahead and just do one just so we can see something. So we put that in there. I can shift click it in. I just learned that. Let's say this had a mushroom. I can see it. And there it is. It has a little number. I've got 1 mushroom in there. So that's one way to look at it. But of course, since I've got all these drives, and not just one, if I started with one, if this was, you know, in my initial hidey hole somewhere, this would have been a great way to do it. But at this point, I need a way to look at what's on all these disks. So to do that, we're going to make another thing. This is called a conversion matrix. I can grab, well, I guess I only had enough to make 1 more of those. And use those to make these ME access terminals. So these are like a viewing station to look at what's in your ME network. So I'm going to grab one of those for now, make sure I leave the recipe in here, and I'm going to go ahead and go straight to turning it into another kind of terminal. This one is a crafting terminal, so I can look at my stuff, but I can also craft stuff. So this, if I put this on there somewhere, let's say this goes right here. Oh, and look, on the, oh, and that's formatting. Oh, great. This tells me all the stuff that's in my ME network so far, and it tells me how much energy I'm using too. So 19 AEs per tick, which whatever those are, and I've got stored energy in it as well. So even though the power got cut off for a moment, it's got stored energy. That's great to know. And as we add things to the network, I guess I'll be able to scroll down. Power units. Oh, MJ. Oh, you can look at all the different ones. There's, okay, Universal Electricity, Rotary Craft Watts, Applied Energistics, Buildcraft. Okay, there is no RF. Good to know. So in here, can I click on this? I thought I should be able to click on this. I have been having a delay in some of my clicking on chests. I don't know what that's about. It's not my TPS, which is fine. Oh, there it is. So if I get that in this episode, I'll just skip it. I'll manually edit it. But if anybody knows what would be causing delays like that, I think it's my internet connection. I think I'm having really high latency, but I'll find out. So there it is. You can see my mushroom. Awesome. And then if I was making something with mushrooms, I could put it down here. If I had like my sugar, my spider eye, and my mushroom, I could make my fermented mushroom right here. And I can also search for things as I have them right here. So I guess what you pay for the crafting grid right here is just less things. You can't see as many things as once at the same time. So maybe just to be kind of rich, I would take one of these as well and put it somewhere like here. Oh, and it's formatting. Awesome. And then I could look at more stuff at once too. Oops, I didn't mean to type that. Awesome. So there we go. That's the basics, you know, and I need to put stuff in here, obviously. A few more things, though, I want to show you. Here is this stuff called Fluix Dust. And you use this for a lot of different things, one of which is you can use it to make the Emmy cable. Emmy cable is how you connect the network together from various places. There's one more way you can store things that I didn't tell you. Is you can make this thing called a storage bus that you could put on to like one of these chests right here, connect it with this Emmy cable to these things, and then when you look in the terminal, you would see whatever's in this chest. I'm not set up to make a storage bus just yet, but I do have a couple other things I want to make here. I definitely will be making those storage buses as well. This is, let me see. Oh, I made that twice. Okay, I didn't realize that. This is an Emmy interface. You can use these, I think, with machines from other mods as part of your auto crafting system. We're not going to get into that yet. And the reason I made that is so I can make these. So grab a few of these. Let's grab both of those since we have it over there as well. Oops. And you can use these to make an export bus, which, is that what I wanted? No, I wanted an import bus. I got it wrong. I'm going to use these to pull stuff into my system. So I want export, import. Obviously, I got to figure out what I'm doing here. And they look, oh, okay. One is sticky pistons and one isn't. So the import bus needs to be sticky pistons. And oh, that's what I did wrong. I knew I needed to change these to sticky pistons. Okay. Anyway, these are about getting stuff in and out of the network, to and from chests mainly, I think. I don't know if there's other storage that it works with as well, So back over here, put this in here, and now I can make import buses, and I need some more of these up here. Let's grab some more of these. Let's start with 5 import buses for now, and we'll get into all kinds of import export as we go along. So let's put those down there. Let's grab these back because I might need them. I'll clean all this stuff up later. Now I can add one or the other of the kinds of processors to these. So over here you can see I was making the basic processor assembly, and I was smelting them in here, just using wood because I didn't have full stacks of them. And I can add one or the other of these to get either a precision import bus or a fuzzy import bus, and that just lets you define items more precisely or less precisely. You know, if you want like bows with a certain amount of damage or undamaged, or you just want all kinds of bows, for an example, that's how you modulate that. And I'll get into that later, but I just wanted to at least start with some import buses because I wanted to be able to import all this stuff that's in here. Now, the import bus, I think, can only pull one item at a time every 5 ticks, and I want to be able to pull in stacks. And I don't want to be too precise about it in the beginning, I think. So either one of these will allow you to import stacks. This is, that's the precision one. That's the fuzzy one. I don't even know what I need yet. We'll need both. So let's make one of those, and let's make 4 of those. And I will figure out if I did the right thing later. But now we've got precision import buses and fuzzy import buses. And let's pick one of these. Might as well do this now. Yeah, and I probably should format my drives first, but I don't know any better yet. Some of these items I'll probably get a lot of, but I think this will be all right. Yeah, let's just go ahead and just blindly pull this into the system, and I'll fix my mistakes later. We'll put a fuzzy import bus on it. Let's put it right there. Nope, got to do it better than that. Wonder if I can spin these around. That's great. I can just use a crescent hammer for that. And then there we go. That's going, now is that going to be pulling stuff into the network already? Oh, it's doing stuff. All right, it is. Look at that. And then can I configure this? Redstone mode, stack mode. There we go. Move stacks of items. Okay, there it is. So now all these things, this was one of my first catch-all chests in my original sorting system, are now going into my network. And at the moment, I'm not controlling which drives it's going into. Looks like it goes in order in some way. I wonder why it went into that one and that one. Oh, because this already has 63 different types. Okay, so now if I look in here, there is all that stuff. Excellent. Yep, so I have stuff in my Emmy network. I'm actually doing it. So that's great. And then I can go ahead and import the rest of this stuff. But before I do that all wholesale, I'm going to think about it a bit. I'm going to do most of it off camera, try to be a little bit more organized. But I wanted to at least get the initial stuff going while I had you guys on camera or watching with me. A couple more things I got ready to make here. So up here is another item you can make. It's called a Fluix Pearl. And you use this for creating wireless systems or wireless access points. So I need one more pearl, which I got from the mob grinder there. And let's see, that was up there. Let's make one more of those. And then over here, you use these Fluix pearls with this assembly to make a wireless receiver. And then the wireless receiver, you can either put one in there like that with this stuff, is the one Emmy cable here. And wireless access point, this is like your wireless router for your Emmy network. And then over here, if I put these, oh, I need another access terminal. Let me see. Oh, I guess I can't do that yet. I'll make the second one later. Well, I only got this set up for 1, 2. I need one of these. This is an energy cell. So this is like the battery for the thing. And so that plus this gives me a wireless access terminal. So I'm going to use this to remotely access all my stuff from elsewhere in my base. I think it starts with 32K, or excuse me, 32 blocks radius, and I'm going to be able to upgrade that, I think, to 64. I got to charge it up. Hopefully I can do it with thermal expansion, in that I forget what they call it, the thing that you that you charge flux up with. We'll see. Maybe not, which would be rough if I can't, because I don't have IC2 here, Industrial Craft 2, so I'll have to see. I was going to make 2 of them, because like any remote device, it'd be great to have an extra in case I lose it or need to leave one on a Bibliocraft tool rack somewhere else in my base, so on and so forth. But we have these 2 things. So over here, let's go ahead and put our wireless access point somewhere. And I'm not sure where it should go. If in the real world I want to put up higher to increase my range, I don't think that will help here. I'm just going to put it here right now, because it seems to be the place to put it. It showed me that it connected. It did its little like rebooting thing. And then with this, if this had any charge, I think I can just right click on it and access. I'd be able to get something that looked like this, but without actually being connected to the network, or, you know, physically touching this. So from over here or wherever, if I'm doing stuff over here, I can grab what I need from over there. Okay, but I'm going to have to achieve charging that up. And I think that was most of the stuff I had to show you from all this crafting. So yay, I actually did that on camera. I'm glad I did it this way, because it'd be horrendous to do it otherwise. I'm open to all the input you guys have. But next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all this up, and I'm actually going to get stuff into my network so that I can empty all these chests out. One other thing, though, that I'm have to be careful with is a lot of what's been filling up my storage here. Yeah, some of it's bones and rotten flesh and gunpowder and this kind of stuff. And that's all fine going in there. The thing that I should be wary of filling it up with, and I'm just learning the ropes here, but I'm pretty clear on this already, is things that won't stack. Like you know, these helmets, the tools, the various bows, etc. These, for all their tremendous capacity, like I said, can, even the biggest one, the one made with 4 or 5 diamonds, still only holds 63 kinds of items. It's no more than the smallest version. So it wouldn't give me any greater capacity if the things don't stack. In fact, it wouldn't really give me much more capacity than a double chest. In fact, for this stuff, I think double wooden chests are going to be the way to go for me, because I don't want to just trash them all, because there are all these enchantments on a lot of them. Even like this wood axe, for instance, has some pretty good enchantments. I mean, look at that. It would be great put onto something else. You know, so I want the ability to go through those. Now, of course, the non-enchanted ones can just get voided, and all these bows, these unenchanted bows, could just get voided. But things like the gold armor, even if it doesn't have enchantments, I can repair them together and then melt them down to get the gold. I know you can do it in the Tinker's Smeltery, and I think there's other places you can do that as well. So yeah, I got to figure out what to do with all that stuff. I was playing around over here, just sorting them with wood chests and item ducts, and I was just working on how to separate enchanted bows from non-enchanted bows using this stuff. So I think I got it figured out. Let's put those in here and grab those, and I'll just demonstrate real quick. And I think I'm going to set up just a giant array of wooden chests. Oh, it's already taking them. But what I did to do this is I just put a bow in here. It's a damaged bow. It doesn't have to be, I think. And it's all about how you set these two things, basically. The metadata is those numbers after the colon 359. When that tells you how much damage this bow has, and I'm telling it to ignore metadata here. So it's just bow. It doesn't care what's after the colon. So anything that's bow 261 is whitelisted to go in that side, but I'm telling it to use MBT. MBT is the invisible data storage, which is used for enchantments. So it is going to look whether things have enchantment or not, and this one doesn't. So this is only whitelisted for unenchanted bows, and all the unenchanted bows will go in here. If it's enchanted, it will go in here. And I didn't put an enchanted bow in there because then it would be looking for only power 3 bows or only power 2 bows. So I used the non-enchanted bow as the decision making thing, and I did the same on both sides, except this one is blacklisted. Unenchanted bows can't go in here, and this one is whitelisted. Unenchanted bows will only go in here. So I think I'm going to have to do that for every kind of weapon and every kind of armor, every piece of armor. So not just leather and chain and iron and gold and so on, but for boots, for pants, for chest plates and helmets and so on. So it's going to be a bit of setting this kind of stuff, and I'll just do arrays of chests down here near the mob grinder in order to do that stuff. So I'll be keeping a lot of that stuff, but I'll just be archiving it so I can go through, and whenever I need an enchantment or whenever I'm inspired to melt down some gold from the armor or whatever, I can do that. I know there's fancy ways to automatically repair your damaged armor and stuff, but I'm not quite there yet. So maybe I'll put it all along back on this wall back here. Uh-oh. Ooh, how did an ant get in here? Alright, I have to do a little lumberjacking. Thank you. But yeah, I've got to do all that. So I wanted to show you guys the beginning of that process and my thinking behind it. Definitely have a lot more to learn about this system, and I'm only going so far at this point. But that's the beginnings of it. So that was a lot of talking. Hopefully you guys followed me on that. And I'm going to go ahead and work on this some more, and I'll wrap up the episode. I'll wrap up the episode by showing you what I did and where I got to at this point. All right, y'all. Thanks for getting this far.